Right, guys, welcome back to another episode of Crossing Swords. As always, I'm Andrew.
And I'm here to ask, who is that mysterious girl and can she move her body close to mine?
I mean, I think good start. In today's society, you can't really go around asking that question.
Who is that gender-neutral person? And that was the issue.
It was more the potential sexual
harassment angle, not the assuming someone's gender angle.
Yeah. Interesting to know what your scale is. Which one's worse in your eyes? Misgendering someone, or
you're a woke
sexual assault?
You're a woke hippie, and I just assumed that it was
both.
It was the woke thing.
No, I mean, like, look, I'm well, as you know, I'm there for the gays.
But,
I'm there for the
Can
trans.
I just point out that at this point, I'm only asking if she can move her body close to mine. There's no touching. No, but touching.
It's
She's
as you know,
moving
Jake,
closer.
it's
the implication. Yeah, there's that word again.
Yeah, it's the implication. You know, because we're on a boat in the middle of nowhere, so she's not going to say no.
No, if she says no, it's no. But she's not going to because of the implications. There's just no danger. No, I don't know what you're not getting.
No.
One of the all-time
goats.
Of
danger.
One of the all-time goats.
And also, look, you're a good-looking man, and I don't mean to insult you, but
I feel like you're about to.
You're not as good-looking as Peter Andre, even to
not
this
in
day.
his prime. I don't know. I've
got to be honest with you. If it was a...
Can I be honest? I've not seen Peter Andre for about 5 years.
Do you know what? I'm going to throw this out there. Whether as a podcasting partner or a sexual partner, if it was a choice between you and Peter Andre, I think I might go with Peter Andre.
Right,
hang on. Because of the celebrity aspect.
Like,
are you telling me you wouldn't throw me under the bus for a celebrity partnership?
Don't get me wrong. Looks-wise, like sexually, I can absolutely see myself being outdone. But I don't know why we can't have a little, like, Peter Andre three-way for the
Do you know what? I was about to say I went a bit too harsh there. If he was willing to work with both of us.
I don't see why I wouldn't. I hear he's a sword crosser.
Do you know what? I can believe it. I mean, you don't marry and have children with Jordan if you're not into
a little bit of sword crossing.
A little bit of sword crossing.
Are we suggesting that they got up to a bit of sword crossing?
I think it's fairly well established they got up to some sword crossing.
Listen, each their own.
No, look, I'm not...
Nothing shaming here. We built a career out of it.
Shame on this podcast. That's not what we're about.
It's not who we are.
What does it say in our tagline? The only podcast where crossing swords isn't frowned upon.
No.
So
touching tips is encouraged.
Since day one, we've maintained that a devil's freeway is all cool. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
Just no eye contact. That is the...
Minimal eye contact. Not intense eye contact. Some eye contact I think is okay. But what you don't want...
That was good, intense eye contact.
Yeah, that's what you don't want, like the full...
And if you were gyrating at the same time...
But let me look at the camera and give it the full light. That's what you don't want.
No, I really don't want that.
But just a little kind of casual, like, you know...
This is all
That's
right.
all right. That's, you know, like a little...
For me personally, and it has been a...
Yeah, it's ruined a moment.
No eye contact is the ideal, to be honest with you. The two men just never look at one another.
And that wasn't even a Devil's Three, though.
No, it wasn't. That was more of a...
That was just two dudes totally getting it on in an adjacent fashion.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a fair...
Two totally straight bros.
Just having a good time. With the ladies.
In a very close proximity to one another.
That's just how Big Daddy Big gets down.
He likes to
make sure women...
Get stuff.
Do you know what I mean?
Appropriate, because Boris might be the only person that slept with more women than Big Daddy Big.
It's neck and neck.
It's close. He's fathered more children, I think.
Big Daddy Big is nothing if he's not careful. Do you know
Big Daddy Big plays safe. He plays hard. He plays safe.
He plays very hard.
But he plays safe.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Respect the game.
He, at a young age, just embraced the old adage of don't be a fool, rap your tool. So,
yeah.
That's what he lives his life by. Do you know what I mean? And when he does eventually have children, that will be the message he passes down to the next generation.
But it will be his choice as and when he has children.
100%. No woman's trapping Big Daddy Big.
No, I mean, even if they did, I don't think he'd go for it, would he?
No, he'd deal with the situation.
He said, bitch, please. Which is misogynistic and we condemn.
We frown upon it entirely, you know.
But bitch, please.
Exactly. Know where you belong.
Get in line.
Do you know what I mean? Get back in the kitchen.
Again, not something we condone.
No, but that's something Big Daddy Big would say.
It's part of a persona.
Yeah.
But it's not part of the brand of Crossing Swords.
No, it's not. No, we don't endorse any of those views.
No.
It's a fictitious work of art, and that's all I'll say on the matter.
We've covered a lot of legal work.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, with some of the stuff you've said in not even that long ago, you know, I feel like legal action's pending at some point.
Don't sound like you're innocent in this, by the way.
Look, as far as I was willing to go was scam some old people. That's all I'm
No,
going to say.
you're focusing on one thing. Don't forget, you built up a reputation for misogyny, and that that didn't come from nothing, my man.
To be honest with you, that came from one place and one place only.
Misogyny.
You would take innocent comments that I would make.
I don't, I can't prove that they were innocent.
I think they were, and you would twist them to your own ends to
As
create
as
to
if I would.
distract from
How
the
long have
narrative.
you known me? As if I would.
To distract from the narrative of what you get up to behind closed doors.
I'm some manipulative pervert.
Well, I couldn't say
Just because I put it on my dating profile, it doesn't make it true.
Do you know what though? Fair dues. You're not false advertising. Do you know what I mean?
No, I'm pretty upfront. I'm pretty upfront.
I am going to manipulate you, use you, and then.
Do you know what? Some of the profiles you see. I mean, not me, but like, you know.
What, of other men or?
Yeah, other men's profile. You see them online. If you follow any like dating stuff.
Yeah, I know people post stuff.
Yeah, some of them are so bad.
I'd like to know what goes through the mind of some men when they do some of the things they do online.
I don't know,
like an unsolicited dick pic, as we've said in the past. I don't know what that's meant to achieve, unless it's truly impressive. And even then, I don't see it working. But
I do think the ideal situation, not the ideal situation, but a fun response is if you just swap, if you get more than one unsolicited dick pic,
yeah,
if you just swap them over with each other and be like, here's mine, and just send them back as if it's your own.
Do you get a lot of unsolicited dick pics?
No, this is my advice to people listening in.
The thing is, most people who get unsolicited dick pics, I imagine gay men do, but I imagine it's the majority is women.
Yeah.
So they can't really send one in return unless they then look one up online.
No, but that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. If
received.
you get two,
right,
you send that person A's to person B, and you send person B's to person A.
To let them think that's what
and be
you're
like,
rocking.
That's what it's like when you send an unsolicited dick pic, you fucking dick.
I could have some interesting reactions like, why is it that colour?
I know, and you've got a lot to live up to if they say, yeah, go on then.
Yeah.
You're like, ooh.
This guy's rocking.
Then you've got a message person, they'd be like, can I borrow your penis?
How do you borrow
I'm talking like
penis?
glory hole setup.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
Anonymous blindfolds.
Wow. That's twisted.
And buffets. There should always
and
be
you're
buffets
trying
at
to
sex
play
parties.
down the image that you're a sexual deviant?
Play down's a strong. I'm just trying to make sure that I'm manage
the bases
expectations.
are covered.
I'm trying to manage expectations.
Okay.
I mostly handle the buffets at these things.
Do you know what? That's an awfully good segue, managing expectations.
Is it?
Yeah, I feel like it is, because I feel like that's all our politicians are trying to do at the moment, particularly opposition.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
Should I do a swerve?
I presume you're talking about Sir Kid Starver.
I was going to bring that up. Can I just say that is some
It's
excellent, pettiness. I love it. It's brilliant.
It's top tier.
Yeah. And it, like, to be honest with you, it's,
It's accurate.
it's on the nose.
Shall we quickly explain how he got the moniker Sir Kid Starver?
Yeah. Would you like to, or should I?
Sure. I mean, to the best of my knowledge, it all came about because he was asked about. So currently in place is a benefits cap. So anyone who had a child born after the August 2017,
Okay.
You can only claim child benefits for 2 children.
Yeah.
Basically, if you have a third child that was born on or after August 2017, forget
your
about
own.
it. It's 2 only. And when asked if he would look at changing that or abolishing that, Kid Starver said,
Yeah.
no, we're going to keep that in place. Meanwhile, by the way, and this is quite interesting, I do trust the source it came from, but I do have to admit I haven't seen it directly. I've only seen it from a quoted source. Is that MPs can claim £5,300 per child to, feed their own children, and there's no cap on that.
Well, no, and they also get to charge £50 per day per meal as expenses when they are out and about.
Yeah.
So,
But do you agree with the policy?
no.
And I'm just playing devil's advocate, by the way. I don't agree with the policy
No,
either. But do you agree? Would you understand the idea that
people? I mean, the argument that would be made for it will be that there's benefit scroungers out there that are just having kids.
Well, I think that would be the argument made by the papers.
The
I think the argument made by the government is we have limited funds.
We know people who have
they're
that
trying
sort
to
of
convince
opinion.
from the voters' point of view, but from a political standpoint, I think the argument is we haven't got the money. We're trying to limit the budget. We're trying to rein in the budget.
That again,
I don't agree with it. I don't agree with it.
I know exactly. I know
just,
you're playing the role at the moment. So I'm not getting annoyed that you're making those points. I understand you're making them for the thing of balance rather than anything else. No, I think that's the argument that would be made.
As an absolute unabashed sleazeball, I'm the closest thing we have to a Tory politician.
These things is politics is about choices, and governments make choices. They made a choice to waste and literally spaff, as Boris would say, billions up the wall during the pandemic, which we found the money to
test and trace. I will always say test and trace. I will always say test and trace.
Whenever there's anything we need that the government decides it's something we need, we find the money. Like we've heavily subsidised, the battery factory that's going to be made in this country, bringing something like 9,000 jobs by Land Rover Jaguar. That's heavily subsidised by public money.
Well, it's got to be, because to be fair, trying to attract trade after Brexit is very difficult.
When the government needs to find this money, it's not difficult to find it. And 300,000 children nearly, since that new law's been introduced, have gone into poverty. 800,000 children are now even closer to poverty than they were before. Nothing else other than just that policy being introduced. That's nearly 1 million children worse off through no fault of their own. Yes, their parents even if all of their parents had them to do the benefit system, it's not their fault,
doesn't it?
And they're the ones that suffer. It's not.
It always brings it back in my mind to the idea that it's more expensive to be poor.
Yeah,
because
there's a tax for being poor.
Yeah, when there's
in every area of your life. And like
right now, when we need to find money in the coffers, it always comes from the bottom rung of the ladder. It never comes from the top. They never tax big businesses or billionaires or multi-millionaires.
For the MPs, they're not going to go, well, we can't find the money for this. No. They're going to find the fucking money for it. So what's the difference?
You or I foot the bill every single time. Yeah. And not just that, it's that whole thing of the rich people, when they've got to buy, let's say, any equipment for work, they can afford to buy new, they can afford to buy flash, they can afford to buy stuff that's going to last, so they only buy once.
Yeah.
We can't afford that,
so we
have to buy the cheap ones, and they don't last very long. No. And in a few months, we'll have to buy them again, and again, and again. And in the lifespan of the equipment of the rich people, we've spent double that.
Because we can't afford it up front.
Because we can't afford it up front. And it's all that stuff. It's always there. It's always more expensive. It really is more expensive to be poor than it is to be.
And look, it's
all
not
of the incentives for house ownership.
I think it's something like £15 a week or £25 a week. We're talking about for the third child. It's not
me and
so that's half per week than what an MP gets per meal per day on duty.
So if we just made them pay for their own food, you'd find an awful lot of coffers.
That would cover it.
No, me and a friend as well were talking, in a mutual, in fact, Lil.
Okay.
We were talking this morning, we were talking a bit about shared ownership and stuff, and we were saying how so many of the incentives that are in place in this country that are, quote unquote, to help people get on the ladder and whatever, they're geared towards people who already own property. They're geared towards the people who already have the capital. They're not geared towards splitting that up or helping people get capital. It's about people who have capital. And so once again, so in like a shared ownership, you're like paying rent and mortgage. You're basically paying the mortgage twice.
Yep.
Meanwhile, the person who owns most of it, who already owns the property, or 75%, and is selling you a small pot, is getting their mortgage sort of paid for, and they're getting some kind of. So once again, and I know it's a bit more complicated than that, but just at face value, let's just, for the sake of this discussion, once again, the poor people are paying more money than the rich who have money. The people who don't have money are paying more than the people who do have money.
Well, again, it comes back to a choice.
And it's a percentage. It's more of what they earn compared to the people. It's all of that stuff.
As I said earlier, politics is about choices. The government has a choice to whether to invest in building homes in the younger generation, which they just haven't done. It hasn't happened. or they're going to continue to do what they're going to do. And what's being mooted is that they're going to try and deregulate things for landlords again to encourage them to put more property back on the market rather than build more, because the people that own multiple properties tend to vote Tory, and if they introduce things that upset them, they're not going to vote for them. So they don't want to lose that demographics. They're not going to do anything for anyone who's on the rental ladder who wants to own a first home or anything like that, because it doesn't benefit them.
That, by the way, is
an
excellent jumping off point into another topic I wanted to talk about. But we don't have to. We can stick with this if you want.
No, that's all right. I think we've covered it.
Well, the jumping off point is universities and university courses. Now, Rishi Sunak has pledged that he's going to get rid of quote unquote useless degrees. Yeah. Now, how you actually measure that is beyond me. What he's saying is there are too many degrees that don't lead to quote unquote good employment.
Yeah.
How do you measure that? How do you possibly measure that? But also,
I guess the way you could measure that is how many people that leave universities on these courses go straight into a job related to.
But equally, a lot of people do take courses later in life, and it's not for a purpose. Absolutely. It's just because they're interested in the subject. And also, what you risk losing is a lot of the fruit of life by getting rid of some of the, because let's be honest, the ones that are going to suffer are going to be the ones like the arts and stuff like that. And it's this coming from a man, to bring it back to the link, who just a few weeks ago said that he wanted to really destroy universities. I can't remember the way he phrased it, because a lot of university attendees and leavers, people who've been to university, tend to not vote Conservative.
No. So he wants
to read into that what you will.
So basically, what we're saying is he's looking to limit the amount of people that actually end up going to university, because they're less likely to disagree with what's going on. Because then they're less educated.
They're more likely to buy whatever crap they're peddling.
Like if they can stop thousands of teenagers a year going to university to learn about things like sociology or business or economics or political issues or political history, all those sort of things that might not necessarily lead to an obvious job, then that's more aware people that can hold power.
Well, what happens at university,
and that's really conspiracy end of it. But I think it's
they're not like movies, like you see in the movies. But and I haven't been for 10 years. Should point that out. But there is a kind of coming together. You do have to have a certain, not necessarily a certain intellect, but obviously to pass the exams, it's more about the ability to take exams. But you have to have a certain
critical thinking. I think it inspires a lot of having to actually grow up and learn from other people and engage with other people and be more of an adult or more of an mature learning environment.
When you write essays at university, you are taught to write a certain way.
Yeah.
And the general structure is, and this is pretty basic, but it is a skill, and you do get used to it doing university degrees.
Yeah.
But it's a skill. You discuss the topic, you do a brief introduction of where the first inklings of whatever you're talking about came from and where they were first studied. What led you
to start writing this?
Then you introduce an idea. Then you counter that idea.
Okay.
And you have to put as much effort into countering your idea, into trying to disprove, even if you that's the one I believe in. You have to put as much effort into trying to prove it wrong. Like you said, it's a critical thinking thing. And then you counter that, and you counter that, and you move on, and you tend to have 2 or 3 points, and you just counter and counter.
I genuinely believe they don't want us to learn.
So not only are you developing that, but part of the way you do develop that for the more social among university attendees is that when you're discussing things with each other, and you do, like, you generally, it is young people, or it's people that are where they want to learn, so they think they've got,
but you do get older, more mature students.
But what you do is you end up in quite diverse discussions about all sorts, politics,
people with different upbringings, backgrounds, races, religions, all it's a melting pot of your culture in a condensed space, really.
Yeah. And you end up having these discussions, and because you're trying to tailor your critical thinking skills for the courses you're on, you end up involving that in your own discussions. And so what you do is you really, like you said, to come back to what you said, you really hone these critical thinking skills, and what it means is you are a lot less likely to buy the first piece of shit you're peddled by the government or the national press.
I think another part that comes into this as well, though.
I'm not trying to big up universities, by the way, but it is a hotbed of that stuff happens outside of unis.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's exclusive to students, but it is a hotbed of that kind of activity.
No, I think it's, from everything I've heard of people I respect in terms of academics, at its core, the university system inspires that. It inspires reaching new levels of education, new levels of debate, all of it, like anything in terms of, and so many incredible people have come out of the university system, and I agree that at its core, it's absolutely key. I don't agree with the fees they get to charge, and like in America, the charity status of the universities.
But also, if I may just offer that as a point, just even a brief point, if someone's paying £10,000 a year for a university course,
yeah,
then surely they can study whatever the fuck they want.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? If they're paying 10 grand a year for it, you shouldn't be going, well, because it's not like the money, we're subsidising those. If someone's paying 10 grand.
Again, if we break it down to the simplistic element, there's a lot of people not paying back their student debt in this country because they don't earn enough after leaving to have to pay it off. So I think that's probably a big part of it, that there's a lot of debt sat there not being returned.
Yeah, and it gets wiped off after a certain amount. It does.
And I don't think the government likes that. Like in every area of our life, they want that bit more out of us.
And I've no doubt that at some point they'll try and introduce some kind of scheme where you are forced to pay it back. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, like you said,
look at America. No matter when you go bankrupt in America, the one thing that does not get wiped clean is your student debt.
Because what happens is, if you're going to be saddled with that kind of debt and you're gonna have to pay it off, you're never going to get it cleared.
Yeah,
people are not going to go to university, and the government are winning because suddenly they've got
want.
Yeah, it's what they want.
Less
it is what they want.
People. It's not complicated, is it? The less educated people there are, the less people there are willing to or even capable of challenging what's going on in the country.
No, and also, by the way, just on this topic, I've got it here. Education Secretary Gillian Keegan as well. Did you see her defending private schooling and private schooling fees?
No, I might have.
Showing basically how out of touch they are. She said that private school fees cost about the same as a family holiday per year. Now, just to put that into context, the average cost of private schooling per student per year is £14,900.
Yeah.
What kind of fucking holidays is she going? I'll tell you where she's going. She's going for a long weekend at Centre Parks. No, but jokes aside, like, where the fuck is she going on holiday?
Yeah, she's going for one night.
But she thinks we're all. She thinks we're all going. We're all spending 15 grand a year on a family holiday. To the average cost of a family holiday, by the way.
That's when you know you come from money, isn't it? When the average cost.
The average cost of a family holiday, by the way, is about 4,200. It's about a third of what she reckons it is. They're just linked through the education thing more than anything.
No, I did hear her say that, to be fair, but I didn't really look into it. But no, I mean, like, look, Tories are going to Tory, innit?
Yeah.
But no, I like that about Centre Parks. That got me.
Thank you. It's what I live for, those little moments.
But yeah, I mean, did you get a chance to watch any of the Sir Keir Starmer interview?
I did not.
No, to be honest with you, you didn't really miss much. It was about 25 minutes of him just refusing to answer questions, really, just repeating the same thing, that he's going to reform everything, make the fundamental changes required to fix whatever the problem is, and we're going to see how much we invest. But he gave his first ever reason I've heard as to why he's not given anything concrete, and that was because he's waiting for the next 3 fiscal events to know what he's going to inherit.
Do you know what? It's a really interesting one, because I'm not trying to blame it all on the Tories, by the way, but they have a really obvious and easy choice here. Fuck the country, which we already know they're doing. Yeah. Fuck the budget.
And just start investing.
Because they know they're fucked anyway. They're not going to win the next election. That's kind of... barring anything miraculous, that's pretty well
I feel like Sir Keir Starmer's doing everything within his power to make it possible.
Keir Starmer comes in with a fucked budget.
Yeah.
And I sort of get what
can't
recover it. The country looks the country looks just as shit or even shitter. And then the Tories come back into power. And not only that, but they come back saying privatisation.
Yeah.
And suddenly the country's in such a state of disrepair.
Have you ever heard of an ISDS?
An ISDS?
Yeah.
No. What can you play on that?
I found no, it's not a clip. It's just I want to be able to get it right. Right, it's an investor state dispute settlement.
Right, okay.
ISDS, or Investment Court System, ICS, is a system through which countries can be sued by foreign investors for certain state actions affecting foreign direct investment.
Okay.
I found out about this recently. Every government around the world is afraid of them because they lose billions upon billions whenever they get sued. And basically, so say, for example, the Conservatives decided tomorrow, and this is laughable because they wouldn't do this, that they wanted to stop drilling for oil in the North Sea.
Right.
And they enacted a law to say that can no longer happen.
Right.
Whoever owns those mines or the drilling,
obviously is set to lose billions.
Yeah, they are allowed to and would most likely win a case against the UK government for doing that, and the UK government would have to pay billions in damages.
The only way the UK government would get around it, and I've already would have thought this is how they'd approach it, is to try and buy out those businesses. Now, obviously, they'd have to make lowball offers, but they'd have to try and preemptively say, look, we know you're going to lose money.
The problem is some of these businesses are some of the oldest business, like the East
India
Trading
Trading
Company in a new name. These sort of
never going to happen.
Like BP and stuff like that, they can't afford to buy BP if they wanted to. But it basically just means, and then...
No, but you could buy their UK assets kind of thing.
Yeah, but then add to that most big political parties are backed by these same massive corporations they could get sued by. It just means nothing changes.
Yeah. But that's not new, is it? That's not news.
No, but I didn't know about... It's not something they talk about. I didn't know billions was being lost. And it's not just like in the Western world, it's happening in South America. These huge, like Coca-Cola, or not Coca-Cola, I don't want to get done. But like...
Yeah, bro, like we cannot afford to be sued. You can't talk about how much they're willing to sue people for.
But yeah...
I don't want to see you and your mum living on the street just because...
I'm taking you down with me.
Fuck that.
You endorse everything.
I've got the best lawyers in the world.
But no, there's stuff that goes on in South America where, like, this South American country, I'm not going to name it, got banned from even... The people weren't allowed to collect even rainwater. It was so fucked that this corporation had it so that they could only get water from this corporation, and then there was riots on the streets for months and months until it got turned over. What's that?
I'm just trying to ask you the country.
I can't read lips.
Okay, I'm gonna no, because I can't. That's gonna be. I can't do like an action.
And actually, to be honest with you, the thing I listened to, he was talking about loads of countries in South America. So even if you did Brazil,
yeah, is it Brazil?
No, it wasn't Brazil. I would remember if it was Brazil.
But is it
El Salvador? It wasn't El Salvador.
That tiny little country.
Yeah, but no, like so
anyway, sorry.
Proper fucked out there.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not good.
So yeah, so Kid Starver, we've done that.
Yep.
Right. So yeah, so in the interview, he just refused to answer anything. Just said he's waiting to see what happens in terms of what he inherits, because there's still another apparently 3 statements from the Conservative government between now and then. Or budgets, rather.
Yeah, budgets and mini budgets.
Yeah, all that sort of shit. So, and to be honest, like, they can be quite massive, even when they're supposed to be mini ones. Just look at this Truss and whatever his name was,
Kwasi Kwarteng.
That's the one. Man,
talking about that at work today, funny enough.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just because we were like, how much... There's probably more activity in the financial markets in that week.
Imagine hiring him to deal with financial matters for you after this. Like, do you know what I mean? Imagine him being in an interview like, well, I managed the country's finances. Yeah, but like it didn't go quite well, did it, Kwasi? Well, no, but it was...
What happened to them? I was in charge, but what happened?
It was all Liz Truss's fault. That's what I would do. I'd be like, come on. It'd be believable as well, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, she's not without blame, is she?
No.
And I think that is a disgrace.
Oh, don't tell me.
There's no way you must have got rid of it. There's no way Liz Truss is relevant for us.
That is a disgrace. I'll be in Beijing, opening up new pork markets.
This is quite telling to how often I update the soundboard, isn't it?
I was at HMP Pentonville last week. They've now got patrol dogs who are barking, which helps deter drones.
One of my favourites. One of my favourites.
Oh, there's one more.
You had a plan in 2014 to build 200,000 new starter homes. That was 5 years ago. How many did you build?
Well, there haven't been as many starter homes as we would have liked.
How many
Andrew.
did you build?
I don't have the exact numbers for
Well,
you.
it's easy to remember. It's 0.
She's the gift that keeps on giving, isn't she? All right. Yeah.
I thought it was an interesting week with her in charge, wasn't it? I think that's fair to say.
It was indeed. Right.
Do it. Nadine Watch.
That's right, guys. We're back from Nadine Watch. Jake, tell us her status.
Still there.
Okay. We'll be back next week.
Yeah. I like Nadine Watch. I
like
think that's
that.
going to be a good running feature.
Once it's fully installed on the machine, I think it'll run a bit smoother.
I still think it works.
Oh, no, 100%.
Just
I enjoyed that. It's a
Nadine
good
Watch,
tune. And it's
still there.
royalty free, so I don't have to be worried about
No, we
YouTube
don't have to worry about
coming
being
after
sued
us,
or shut down.
sliding into our DMs, especially as we're popping.
We are popping. Do you know what?
Yeah.
Talking about a kind of virality.
Oh.
First of all,
What sort of virility?
First of all, I want to say, by the way, I take this opportunity to say congratulations to Carlos Alcaraz and to Marketa Vondrousova for winning Wimbledon.
I feel,
Both of them first timers.
yeah.
There's something really likeable about Carlos Alcaraz as well.
I'm not going to sit here and pretend I know anything about tennis. I don't anymore.
Do
I
you
don't know
know-
any of them. Like, I feel bad. Leanne's a huge Djokovic fan, and we had a nap while
If
the
you-
tour was on,
If you
and it was one of the most talked about finals in a long time.
if you consider the big four
yeah,
to be Djokovic, Nadal, Federer, and Murray,
yeah,
then Alcaraz is the first non-big four player to win Wimbledon since 2002.
what in men's?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So in the men's singles, one of those four has won every single one for the last 21 years,
yeah.
while there wasn't one in 2020.
Was Djokovic winning at one point?
Yeah, he won the first set.
Okay,
And then Alcaraz went 2-1 up, and then
to be
2-2,
20
and
years
then
old though.
20 years old as well. This is
But then
his
last
10th
year we had Emily Raducanu, didn't we? Was that last
Emma
year?
Raducanu. She won the French.
Oh, was it
Open,
the
didn't
French
she?
Open? Sorry, for some reason.
Or the
I thought it was
Australian
Wimbledon.
Open? No, it might have been the Australian.
For some reason, I thought
But,
it was Wimbledon.
I don't think so.
I feel like it was Wimbledon.
Got to look it up now, haven't I?
Yeah. Well, I know she's done very little since, but that's probably being harsh. I don't know anything about tennis.
Oh,
And
God.
I don't want to disrespect Emma.
No, US.
Ah,
She's
God
never
damn it.
made it past the fourth round in Wimbledon.
Well, that's still
Second round
respectable.
in the Australian, second round in the French.
Fair
Not
play.
much sense. Yeah, Carlos Alcaraz
She's
is
doing all right.
it's only his 10th Grand Slam, and he's won the US and he's
10th?
won this.
At 20 years old, he's played
He's
in
played 10 Grand Slams,
Slams.
but 4 a year.
Yeah, but all right, fair enough.
So he's been playing for the last couple of years, and he's already won 2. That's a
mental.
20% success rate. That's insane.
At 20.
Yeah.
Maybe at 30, it will be at 30, 40 at 40.
So I mean, Carlos Alcaraz, by the way, Djokovic turned pro when he was 16,
Oh, okay.
and because of the age gap between them, Carlos
Can
Alcaraz.
I be honest with you? I don't know what it is. I've just never liked Djokovic.
No, I don't like him.
Okay.
I don't like him,
I don't know
especially
why.
since the
I'm
whole,
probably-
especially since the whole Australia thing,
Oh, what, the
lying about the
refusing to be vaccinated?
lying about his status because he applied for like special, special
Dispensation.
exceptions, and they said, yeah, fine, fill in this form to tell us where you've been and what you've been doing, and he lied. And then it's like, bro, you're like one of the most famous people in.
We know
You're
where
certainly
you've
the most
been.
famous Serbian. Like, yeah, we're gonna know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
Carlos
keep
Alcaraz,
we
big,
keep an eye on our Serbs, don't we? We know where they are at all times.
but big fan of Carlos Alcaraz. I do like him.
I can't pretend to know anything about him.
If you ever see him in any interviews or anything,
I mean,
he's just
yeah,
so
he said something
nice.
post Wimbledon. I saw an interview where he said something about watching Djokovic grow up, and I was a bit when he was growing up. I
Well,
was
yeah,
a bit like,
because
I don't
he
know
was-
if I'd have said that.
he was
just after
born when
beating him.
Djokovic turned pro.
No, I know, I get that, but I would have still probably not said that having just beaten him.
It seems
And he
like
was so
rubbing salt in the
visibly
wound.
angry as well.
Or Djokovic smashed the shit
That's
out
what
of
I'm
the
saying.
net.
I would have probably not said that.
Yeah, out of the
bit, but,
post.
Like you beating him. Do you know what I mean?
It's a good
Uh,
game as well. It's some really great tennis being
So I
played.
heard.
But talking about virality,
Go for it.
see that just sort of went back as if nothing happened.
Yeah.
Are you aware of Patronella Wyatt
Who?
as a journalist
I'm not.
for, I believe, The Spectator at the moment? She's kind of done like The Telegraph, and she's done a few of them, just to give you an
I
idea
don't
of who
think
she is.
so.
She claimed on Twitter, and it's gone quite viral, so you may or may not have seen it. She claimed that she knows of 2 women who came back to London from Turkey with 2 kidneys missing.
So
Now,
both women were both missing their kidneys.
that's what she's claiming, but obviously the way she worded it looked
Wouldn't
as
they
if she was
die?
the way she worded it was as if they were missing both kidneys.
Oh, they both lost a kidney.
but they both lost a kidney. That's what she's claiming.
Right.
Obviously, this is bullshit.
Yeah.
But it was this idea
It
that
could happen.
these two women. I think the internet loved the fact that it's like, I know two women. They came back with no kidneys. They got robbed of all their kidneys,
There were no kidneys
and enough
there.
people just going, "Yeah, it happens.
Yeah.
It happens. You've got to watch them. They're dodgy bastards."
I
and them
bet
holiday
you there's
resorts.
some dodgy shit going down with people's kidneys out there and all organs. I reckon there's a black market trade going down.
Well, yeah, there is.
So yeah, it's feasible. A woman had her kidney nicked.
Yeah, but
She went down for a teeth
two.
shaving,
two.
wakes up and the kidney's gone. Well, no, she misspoke, didn't
Oh, well,
she?
two
So she's
women.
two women. I imagine it's happened to more than one, yeah?
Yeah, but they came
Were
back.
they on the same flight?
Yeah, they came back together.
Well, look, it's a package deal. Whoever needed a kidney got two for their
yeah, we
bargain,
got one for
didn't they?
backup.
Yeah.
It was quite fun.
Bill Gates could be up to that. Do you know what I mean?
Quite fun to see everyone. I was just wondering whether you'd seen it, whether you had any thoughts on it.
I'm on board.
Just the utter lunacy of just claiming
They lost. I actually would take it further and say they definitely both had both
Both
their
kidneys.
taken.
100%.
Yeah, look, I'm convinced. I've heard enough to know when I'm hearing the truth. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I believe it.
And it's from a reliable source who doesn't
Very
trust a
reliable.
Tory.
Very reliable. Anyone
Yeah.
on the right?
I'm assuming
Never
she's
lied.
a Tory.
Yeah, she's right. She's a right-wing journalist.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
No, that's it. That's all I
no,
got on
fair
that.
enough.
That's all I got on that.
Have you heard that Rachel Reeves has been reaching out to big Tory donors for one-to-one breakfast? Rachel Reeves is
No,
the
she's a shadow chancellor,
chancellor
isn't she?
for Labour.
No.
Yep.
What's that about? Does she just like a free breakfast?
They just been reaching out to them voluntarily to have meetings with them for probably just to have breakfast, just to get to know them. They're not agreeing
gonna
to
lie,
anything.
like-
They're not going to take huge donations, surely.
If I could work it so that they were paying,
Yeah,
I would. I like a free breakfast. Well, I like a breakfast, and I like it. I
I'd
like free
meet
stuff.
with the shadow chancellor for breakfast, but I haven't got.
But would you meet with Tory
millions.
donors for breakfast?
The thing is, what is it they want? What is it they're going to be
Don't
asking
know.
for?
Don't know.
Because that we all know that's what the meeting's for. It's to say how much money are you willing to give us and what are you going to ask for in return. It worries me that Labour think they need Tory donors. It makes me think that perhaps they're not happy with what they've raised so far. But it's just shady as fuck. It's a direct line.
How did you find out about it though?
It's been well documented online from multiple journalists, all saying that she's reached out to. It was out a couple of weeks ago actually. It's
Okay.
a bit old hat, but yeah, so it's slightly worrying. It came out around the time of the Rupert Murdoch party photos of Sakia going in.
Right. Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Okay. It's gonna be It is dodgy,
Yeah.
but to a certain extent, it is the game.
Oh no, look, it is what it. We've both. Well, I know I've said I think the way out of the corruption in politics is none of that can happen. No donations. There should be a public money. Like the way, even if it means it costs 100 million per party each election, public money that we give to the parties to say run your campaigns. And
But you both got the same budget.
Yeah, and there's no external.
Sort of like a salary cap in sport.
Yeah, essentially. And then that way it's controlled from within. There can't be any dodgy deals done between big corporations and politicians because they can't give them anything. No second jobs, no consultancies, nothing like that. All eliminates all of it. But
Yeah,
how does it make you feel about Sakir Starmer? Like everything, because
Same as
we've
everything.
had we started off fairly optimistic about him. I think. Well, we were open minded to see what he was like, but I think
Tory in a red tie, and
it feels that way, doesn't it? It
Yeah.
feels like he's in charge of the wrong.
he's centre right,
party.
which is more left than the current government, but
he's
he's
not
still
left.
He's still right of centre. Yeah.
And it just, I mean, I looked up our polling for our constituency the other day. Apparently, the favourites to win the next election in our area will be Lib Dems.
Thank God.
And the Conservatives, sadly, still aren't that far behind, which says a lot about the area that we live in.
Fuck this
but-
area.
I don't know, it makes me feel quite uneasy about what comes next because we've maintained, I have, that I'm still convinced that
One
Labour
step
is
at a
better
time, man.
than...
Baby steps, yeah, baby steps. Let's get away from this shit show first,
Yeah.
and then let's try and look for a proper
It just,
government.
I'd tell you what worries me more than anything is that somehow between now and then, because it's still a year away,
And look,
that Sir Keir Starmer, it feels like he's doing everything within his power to
if
lose.
the Tories are allowed 3 governments off one election, then we can get Labour in and give them, we'll have a change around.
Because I think the name Sir Keir Starmer is going to stick. I think he's going
It's going to
to...
be tough to shake.
I think he's going to be really struggling, but particularly as he... And it will... I think...
Look at me, I said a thing about kids once on this podcast and it's never left me.
I think yours was worse, actually, to be fair.
I don't know. Mine are getting fed. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, they may...
Let's not go
at
back
least
to
they're
it.
going to get
Let's
fed.
not go back to it.
If
If anything, they
I
get
always
fed too
feed them
much. No,
afterwards.
that's not.
That was unnecessary.
It was really unnecessary.
Feed the pony.
I mean, I regret nothing, but it was really unnecessary.
But yeah, I have no faith in him either now to like maintain the lead.
No, we've said it before.
And like,
He-
for all I know, when we've had 3 budgets or whatever between now and then after that, Labour go, look, here's our plan, and it could be a really good plan, and I could be really into it and be like, okay.
It is like
But-
like taking a penalty with an open goal, and he's turned up with his slippy trainers on and he's putting a blindfold on.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like, how can you fuck this up
yeah,
so much?
yeah,
But if anyone's trying, it's a kid starver.
yeah. And the fact that it's fairly well documented now that he's slowly trying to get. Apparently he's going to have a reshuffle soon as well,
Of course he is.
where apparently he's planning to get rid of Angela Rayner.
Of course she is, because she's probably 2 left.
Yeah, apparently she's the biggest voice in the Labour within the front benches that is challenging him on a lot of these decisions.
And she's right to.
Yeah,
The Tories are where they are, polling wise, because of how unhappy people are with a lot of their policies right
Yeah.
now. And the way the country's run, but
their
a lot of the policies.
behaviour,
So what you don't want to do is come in and go, we're going to do everything pretty much how they're doing it now. Distance yourself and say, we're going to do it differently.
yeah.
Don't come in and go, yeah, we think they pretty much
And
nailed
like,
this.
to be
They
honest
clearly
with you,
haven't.
stuff like the 2 kids benefit thing, even that's like an open goal, isn't it? You're asked that
Yeah.
question. Yeah, we're going to scrap it.
I mean, look what
Wicked.
happened.
But the amount of people
Look what
that would,
happened when Boris tried to take on Marcus Rashford
yeah,
before
yeah.
about kids being fed.
And they've learnt nothing from it.
It's a PR nightmare.
Yeah, that he's just walking.
And within a day, he's
headfirst
picked up the
into-
name Sir Kid Starver, and like you
Yeah.
said, that's not going anywhere.
No,
is
it's
it?
not going. And like that, like I remember early on. I don't know if you know how well you know Owen Jones. He's very
Is the
easy.
Labour journalist, right?
He's a left-leaning journalist. Yeah.
Yeah.
But what I would give him credit for, because I've started listening to him a bit more
I think
recently.
he's quite a controversial figure, isn't he?
He is, because he just, to be honest
But like,
with you,
even on the left, there's a lot of
yeah, because like from the beginning, he basically was like, I'm not convinced by Sir Keir Starmer. He said, I've not seen anything that substantiates any of the things he promises. And then just every time he's backtracked on something,
and
Owen
he's
Jones
backtracked
has
a lot.
pointed it out and gone like, look, how can you trust him over the Tories when he's doing exactly the same thing? Anything he promises you, get far enough down the line, he'll change his mind on it. So, and like what I will give Owen Jones credit for is he does criticise his own side, because Sir Keir Starmer currently represents the majority of the left just by dint of being Labour leader.
Mm.
But he's Labour leader only in name. Really.
It's ironic as well, coming from Sir Keir Starmer, who attacked Boris a lot during question time, or Prime Minister's questions rather,
Yeah.
over calling the party the U-turn party or whatever, and it's like, bro, really, from you,
And
the
that's
way
the
you're
problem.
doing it now.
And that's the thing, he's put himself in a position that even if he has Rishi Sunak or the Conservatives banged to rights, he's backtracked on enough things now that they can just call him out on it themselves. And to be honest with you, I don't know if you listened to any of Prime Minister's questions today.
I try not to, it just angers me.
He lost. I would say, to be honest with you, Rishi Sunak won. And that shouldn't be
He's a
happening.
timid man.
But no, like Rishi Sunak had better returns and retorts than he did. He was able to just call him out. And he had a line, I can't remember what it was, that just landed and everyone fucking lost it at one point. And the speaker was getting quite irate, being like, I'm going to start chucking people out if you don't calm down.
Yeah, that old shit.
But But no, I would actually say on balance, Sir Keir Starmer lost this one, and I just don't get it.
No.
You shouldn't be losing, but he's doing it himself. But yeah, it's left me in quite a I don't know what the fuck we do, to be honest with you. I guess you're right. We're just one step at a time. Get the Tories
Baby
out,
steps.
and
It
then
is
hold
baby
Labour
steps.
to account
It
afterwards.
is baby steps.
But yeah, quite a sad view of. In my
Yes,
opinion.
it is sad.
But yeah, he's turned out to be, sadly, exactly what we
Shit.
sort of asked for. We said we wanted a Boris in left clothing, and essentially,
No, but
he's not as corrupt as Boris. But in terms of whether you, can
I mean, I
trust
know
him
what
or
you're
not,
saying, and I get why you're saying.
we've got
it.
the worst aspects of
But,
that request rather than what
You know,
we wanted.
yeah, what we wanted was a left-wing politician,
It
even
was
centre-left,
charismatic,
who was charismatic
could
and
play
who
the
was
game.
who was willing to fight a bit dirty if they had to fight a bit
Yeah.
dirty. Not just in terms of some of the name calling and some of the
Yeah, actually going
slinging
after
mud.
someone.
not in terms of the corruption.
No,
But yeah, it's
it's just not looking good. And like the meetings with Tory donors, I can put down to being a political reality. But what I can't accept is just going against what you would assume are just basic Labour standards. Like,
I mean, they've
like the
already
two
disowned the unions, haven't they?
yeah, well, what was the Labour Party created for?
Yeah,
It
it is baffling, isn't it? It's baffling,
It is.
and especially given historically,
Yeah,
politically, from the voters tend to be against union action, strike action.
Yeah.
But actually, in the last year or so, that tide has turned massively, and the majority of people support most of the strike action. So if there's one time to stick with unions rather than to, fair enough, 10 years ago, abandoning unions.
It's a slam dunk, isn't it?
Or putting unions quietly in the corner but not vocalising your support for them. I get that because it doesn't poll well. But in the last year or so, 2 years, it actually polls really well.
Yeah.
And it's not going to damage your brand. So if there's one time to
At
stick with the
every one
unions,
of these events, there should have been a senior Labour politician at the picket line supporting the people. I literally went to say it's a kid Starver. Should have been at every single one of them, saying exactly why.
He shouldn't have been coming out condemning.
No, but he should have been stood there with Mick Lynch,
distance himself,
saying that, just pointing out the inequality, backing up the unions, saying where the Tories are.
Now the trouble, and to a certain extent, I'm playing devil's advocate, but I'm also maybe trying to highlight the game of politics. The trouble is, if you stand side by side with them so prominently,
fine, have Angela Rayner do it. I don't mind, but someone should be there
when you inevitably get into power, as they.
There has to be a level of separation.
When you get into power, suddenly then they've got you banged to rights because they turn around and go, great, we want our deal now because you said, you stood by our side and went, what you're asking for is absolutely, you should be getting it. And now you're in a position to give it to us. So where is it?
Well, then you deliver it.
Do you know? And then you've either got to deliver it, or if there's not the money in the coffers, you've got to negotiate. But if you're negotiating,
but that's
you
the
can't
difference.
negotiate. You've got to give them what they ask for.
Most of this, it's only in the last month where any negotiating's actually happened, is it?
But I'm just saying, if you're standing too close to them.
No, absolutely. No, look.
But
fine.
I do agree.
I would have had Angela Rayner there. Whoever's in your shadow cabinet
shouldn't have distanced themselves.
No, not to the level they have, certainly.
No.
To basically just be against them.
No, absolutely. By the way, did you see the Tobias Elwood video?
Tobias Elwood,
MP.
Why? What did he do?
A pro-Taliban Afghan video.
I haven't seen this. What, in support of the Taliban?
Yeah, he was sort of going like, to be fair,
they've got things in order.
You know, they've got their shit locked down.
Yeah, but I heard people say that about Saddam Hussein.
And then
they were
right at the end, he kind of does this like, yeah, obviously we want rights for like women and stuff.
He hasn't half got.
And he keeps
banging
on about the security. He's like, security is just tight here, tight.
Oh well, it's all good then.
It was a very odd political choice to release such a video.
Yeah.
It's like, who do you think you're polling?
Look, what we're after stability. Stability at all costs.
Maybe he lost a bet. I don't know. It was really odd though.
Yeah,
really odd.
Tories make odd decisions like that, don't they?
So bad.
Like 30p Lee Anderson
so
going on telly and asking people to eat cat food.
Yeah, and now we're not going to get into it, but I'm now defending Dan Wootton as well.
Yeah. To be honest, again, that seems like quite a murky situation. I've read and watched some stuff on it, but I don't think we've got.
I don't like Dan Wootton anyway. Scum.
No, of course, neither do I. But
absolutely typifies the scum press, tabloid press.
100%, 100%.
The only other thing I had to talk about was feeling hot climate change, baby, and the high temperatures. Obviously, storm weather, wildfires in Greece, where you can actually see the smoke from space. In northern Spain, they had hail so bad that there was like hailbergs, icebergs floating through the town centre. Northwest China.
Oh, I've seen all the floods and shit.
Well, Northwest China, yeah, Korea, South Korea. There was some really bad floods. People have died and stuff. But then at the other end of the spectrum, in China set a new. You can do it.
In nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti.
Or whatever the Korean equivalent is.
No, there's Catholics in Korea.
Oh, there's a lot of Catholics in Korea.
Mate, that's
a lot of
great rap song.
Catholics in Korea.
Catholics in Korea.
China, Northwest China, was recorded a new Chinese record for heat temperature, 52.2 degrees Celsius. 53.9 degrees Celsius recorded in Death Valley in California. The highest trusted score ever on Earth is 56.7, so we're not that far. They weren't that far off it. Sardinia is expected to hit 46 this week. Tunisia expected to hit 49, possibly 50.
Yeah, we're all right over
The
here
highest in Europe ever recorded was 48.8 in Sicily. And that's written in 46 in Sardinia.
There's people like passing out and dying and shit, isn't there?
Like the weather is broken, my man. And still,
look, I'm going to be really honest for a second.
Saying,
we're all going to die. Well, like maybe not us, but
the planet's fucked.
Yeah, like, and I have zero. Look, I read or watched a few things a little while ago about that. Basically, there are currently in this country in particular no plans in place, nothing being implemented, nothing coming down the pipeline. There is nothing we're doing to currently meet our targets of net zero by 2030. And that's not even enough to save the planet.
Far off, sorry, yeah.
So, like, look.
You just want to lean into it and say, fuck it, let's have a good time.
Almost. Like, to be honest with you, that I don't even think we have the mechanisms in place, the technology available to really... I think we have the technology. We're just not willing to funnel enough of our joint economies into making it happen for it to actually happen. Like, we're far too busy arguing about what Dan Wootton's been up to, or what Hugh Edwards been up to, or what Boris Johnson's done this week to actually deal with the situation. No one's willing to sacrifice anything. Like, ULEZ is a very controversial thing. People I'm very close to hate it, and I completely understand why they hate it. And all I kept saying to them in response was, but nothing's being done. Like, this is just one small thing one politician's trying to force through to make the tiniest bit of difference. And I understand all the hatred towards it and why people don't like it. But I keep going back to it's the only thing being done.
Well, the ULEZ thing, the pushback on it.
I came from Boris originally as well.
Yeah, no, that's the funny thing. And he's one of the biggest vocal critics of it.
Yeah, you introduced it, you absolute bellwith.
I think one of the, to kind of bring us full circle a little bit, I think one of the biggest criticisms he is it's more expensive to be poor, because now we've all got to buy, well, not all of us, but we've got to buy new cars, new vans for our businesses that
Look, people
we
can't even afford to have their fans on to keep themselves cool. So
there was a when my car was damaged a couple of years ago,
yeah,
and I was looking at the options for a new car. One of the cars that I was looking at, obviously it's not that specific car, but that kind of mileage, that age,
yeah,
and bearing in mind that's now 2
would
years
now not
older.
Be compliant, I'm guessing.
No, because it is compliant, is now £2,000 more expensive.
So the second-hand car market.
So the second-hand car market now, if you want to sell your car, who's buying it in the ULEZ? You've got to go and sell it out in the countryside. And if you want to buy one that is ULEZ compliant anywhere in the country, it's going to be an extra $2 or $3 grand, even more, depending on what your price range is. So it is more expensive. Once again, it's more expensive.
The reality
to be poor.
of
That's
that
the
situation is, from what
in principle, I'm not against it.
No.
That aspect.
As I said to you, I understand all of the issues people have with it, and I can completely understand why people don't want it in place. And in reality, with how little we're doing, you could just get rid of it. It's not going to make a huge amount of difference. But I understand why Sadiq Khan is so fucking hell bent on doing it, because he's like, he's like looking around, going, I'm the only one looking at this.
My biggest criticism. Sorry.
But what I was going to originally say was, there's a real fundamental issue, which is that currently the technology relies heavily on batteries. and the battery
To make the
technology that
battery.
we need isn't quite at the efficiency level,
No.
and so therefore the cost of making these batteries is at a prohibitive level. So unless
And the energy level and the output, the carbon
Yeah.
emissions to make them.
and then so what you need then is governments that are willing to take a constant and huge loss on implementing it throughout a country to make it viable, and that's just not going to happen.
My biggest
Um,
criticism of you, Les, is I would say most people who drive into London, into the ULEZ zone anyway, do not drive in there because they want to.
No, it's for work.
They drive in there because they have to.
For whatever
because they
reason
live
it
there
is, yeah.
or because they work there. Therefore,
It's a working
implementing
tax again,
this-
isn't it?
you know, I understand you're trying to encourage people not to travel by car or van. You're trying to encourage them to travel by public transport, but it's not going to work. They're going to come
Yeah.
in, they're just going to pay the money, and they're going to, particularly for businesses, they're going to try and charge an extra,
Mm.
they're going to try and work it into whatever job they quote. So it's not actually going to reduce the traffic in London
No.
or the carbon emissions in London. It's just going to put money in your pocket.
Yeah.
And if you turn around and you say, and there's a lot of transparency, and you say this is all going on renewable projects that are going to help us hit a net.
Yeah.
So even if the rest of the country doesn't hit net zero, we can say that London hits
Apparently,
net
one
zero.
of the only things that we
Then
could
fair
have
enough,
done
but that's not going to happen, is
in
it?
this country that would have helped us be more green, believe it or not, was a few years ago. More than a few, when the Conservatives were coming in, there was going to be a push into nuclear energy, which would
Yes.
have been one of the only
Saw
real
that.
clean ways. And I say clean in air quotes because currently the way we dispose of radioactive waste is to put it into a pond and forget it exists. There's no current way to really
Safely disposed.
dispose of nuclear waste in a effective or even cost effective way or safe way. So we just chuck it in a bog somewhere and hope we never have to worry about
Well, it keeps
it.
getting
But basically we decided at that time, instead of pushing into nuclear energy, which would have provided cleaner, more sustainable energy for our future, it takes about 10 years to bring a nuclear reactor into viability, about 10 years of prep and all that. We've missed that point. By the time we'd have it in place, it's
it
more
wouldn't
or
help
less
us, did it?
too late.
And also, I'm pretty sure, I can't remember where it was, but it just kept getting, the planning permission just kept getting denied because the residents kept saying, we don't want to live near a
Well,
fucking
yeah, and the
nuclear
Tories didn't want to push
facility.
it through. They didn't.
No, they had
It's
no
not an expense.
incentives.
They wanted to push it through.
Not while BP are paying all their
Um,
wages, but
Yeah. So
or
like,
Shell, whatever.
the truth is, the only way we solve the climate crisis is for the entire world to decide it's willing to spend more money and also make less money, because you can heal the environment a little bit. It improved during the pandemic because there was less air travel, there was less car travel, there was less pollution happening in general, and there was a general positive impact on our environment. So we can do it, but it just requires a complete redoing of how we currently live our lives, and that's just not going to happen. So sadly, we just have to sort of accept we're on a upward
path to death.
trajectory in terms of temperature, and just got to hope that, you know, we die before it gets too bad.
Have you got anything cheerier?
No. What the fuck has happened to Ricky Lambert?
Bro.
There's something.
Can I just say, I saw Toby
So
Tarrant.
can we
he's
talk
had
dirty to our Coca-Colas?
I mean, he's had a shout out before on this show from me, but Toby Tarrant,
I thought you were about to say Ricky Lambert. I was like, I do not remember.
Toby
ever
Tarrant
mentioning
did
Ricky
a thing where he
Lambert.
was like, after hearing Ricky Lambert, and obviously we sort of know from lockdown and stuff, Matt Letizia,
Yeah.
he's like, I'm now only taking my science advice from former Southampton strikers.
Yeah. We're
He's like,
waiting
I will
for
not-
Che Adams to come out.
He was like, I will not have an opinion on anything unless it comes straight from the mouth
Yeah.
of a former Southampton striker. Like,
Like,
what the fuck? Okay, do you
that
want to
video
tell
of
people?
like refusing to accept the law, that like, it's cringy, but I was like,
Do you
all
want to
right,
tell
do you, man,
people?
what he was doing?
Yes.
He apparently has a podcast, from what it seems like from the clips, and it's over Zoom, and he talked about a scientific study where apparently
I
they
just had to
showed.
give a little cough there because you said scientific study.
This is what he
yeah,
said.
no, I know. Oh, it's
Scientific
so good.
study,
Guys, it's so good.
where he said the people studying took 2 glasses of water,
I know, try and do this with a straight
and
face.
they would talk really nicely to one glass of water and say nice things to it and encouraging things, and to the other they would say really negative things and insult the glass of water and just be negative. They would then freeze the 2 glasses of water and test the ice, and apparently the ice that they were negative towards...
The nice ice.
The nice ice was nice ice. It
crystallised where it kept talking about crystals.
Yeah, and if you talked negatively to it, the ice came out with more impure properties and was more negative ice, basically.
And apparently he said they've got it down to the phrasing, they've got it down to the wording.
Yeah.
And like, my man talks to his water.
Yes, he does.
He says nice things to his glass of water.
Yeah, so that it's better for him.
That's better for him. Now the question is, I've only seen the short clip, and I'm sure you've probably only seen the short clip as well. My question is, does he do it with each individual glass, or does he do it en masse? Does he go up to his boiler?
His Brita filter.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Does he do it to the tap and just say that covers me for the day?
Gonna be the best fucking water anyone's ever drunk. No one filters water like you do.
Go out there and you show him what water can do. I love you.
And then just kiss the...
You're great water.
Kiss the Brita
amazing
filter.
Water. Sort of almost Donald Trump. You're like, great water,
the best,
amazing water, the best water.
Trust me, I know.
Good water. I know good water. This you're good water.
Yeah. You're not naughty water like that other water. And that's the thing. Have a naughty water in the kitchen that you can point to and be like, you don't want to be like that water.
I'm now
no one
really,
touches that water.
Really disappointed.
What if I'm in the shower? If I speak nicely to the shower, will it be pure water?
I don't know.
You're the best shower I've ever had.
I feel like you say stuff like that in the shower anyway. The way you said it and the way you kind of move.
Best shower I've ever had.
I feel like that's not...
I'm prone to sing song in the shower.
Who isn't? I love a sing in the shower.
And a bit of a bogey. Do you know what I mean?
How big's your shower?
Well,
what kind of moving space have you got here?
You've seen my moves. I can stay in one spot
just
and
like
still rock it.
Little shoulder shimmy.
You know, a bit of mic action.
Do that again?
Look, pretending to hold a mic looks like you're pretending to hold a cock. There's nothing I can do about that.
It's mad though, isn't it? The Ricky Lambert thing.
I mean, it just... What's happened? Like, what? How do you get to that place?
Is that the maddest...
From England striker, and I've watched him score goals for England in the flesh. Like, I've seen him do it.
Isn't he one of them players that scored in every division?
Probably. He was a decent player. I'm not taking that away.
Because there's like
from
him
but
and was it Grant Holt kind of came through together at the same sort of time?
I think
but
you're
obviously
right.
he
At
went a lot further.
I think Grant Holt was at Shrewsbury.
And then he was at Norwich when he came into the league.
Yeah.
Ricky Lambert at Southampton. Then obviously he went on to Liverpool. Grant Holt might have gone to Liverpool as well, like straight after.
Did he go to Liverpool? I don't think Grant Holt
ended
up. He was at Norwich.
Make your own. You talk nice to your drink.
I can't.
What have you drunk it?
I only talk to it naughty.
Oh, talk nice to my drink.
I wanted to also... Did we talk about Glastonbury at all?
Glastonbury?
Yeah. I know it's a little while ago now, but did we discuss Glastonbury at all?
No, but he never went to Grant Holt. I don't know where I got that from.
No, neither do I. Because he's a wrestler now.
Sharp, is he actually?
I'm sure Grant Holt
wrestling career.
Now. Yeah.
He won his first fight when he was the last man standing in a 40-man Royal Rumble, earning the Crusher Mason Memorial Trophy. Great name for a trophy. In total, he wrestled 3 matches. The last in June 2019.
That's a rabbit hole you didn't think you'd go down.
Like, but is the Ricky Lambert thing, just before we sort of move on to Glastonbury, is the Ricky Lambert thing the maddest thing a footballer has ever said?
No. David Icke.
But he wasn't a footballer when he was making a lot of those claims.
Are you sure? I'm sure he went on telly as a footballer and started banging on about being the son of God.
But you're right. No, David Icke definitely takes the claim for that.
Yeah.
In the modern era, in the Premier League era,
well, yeah,
is that the maddest thing a footballer said?
I don't know.
If I talk...
Graham Souness could be watching Chelsea play and found a way to talk about Paul Pogba being the problem. So
but that's just a man with an axe to grind. That's not someone coming on and saying, if I talk nice to my water, it's good water. If I talk bad to it, it's bad water.
No, I'm trying to think if there have been any particular howlers. No, all right, fair. In the modern era, it's probably...
up there, isn't it?
It's up there.
It's up there.
Yeah, I mean, and it's done the rounds. Like, he's not... Like, his kids are going to be known as the naughty water kids. Do you know what I mean?
People are going to... I don't know how old his kids are, but if they're in school, kids are going to be coming up talking to their water bottles all day. All day.
And do you know what? They sort of deserve it. I know it's not their fault.
They don't, but
he deserves it.
He deserves it. People should be saying that to his water bottles all day.
Yeah. Or when he buys a bottle of water, be like, make sure you're nice to it, mate.
Oh, how the balls on you if you're the cashier and he buys a bottle of water to be like, you're a good bottle of water. There you go, sir.
You're the best.
Great, good water. Great water. There you go.
What's the song? You're the best
Around.
around. Nothing in the world can keep
But
you
the
down.
absolute cojones on you as a cashier to do that shit.
Yeah.
Would you? I would. No, I wouldn't. Because he's quite a big lad and I think I'd be scared he'd hit me.
No, I
'Cause he's
reckon he's
mental.
a softie.
He's mental.
I mean,
He's a nutcase.
he's fallen down a dark path, Jake. He's not lost to us.
Fucking hell, yeah. He slipped on some really good crystallised
And
ice.
I like to be generous to these people because I can quite often go down rabbit holes of strange theories and stuff.
I'll tell you
Some
the
of
day
which
you've gone
I
well too
find
far.
worryingly convincing sometimes, and it's a very fine line, as we see with these people, of going from reasonable to I should be locked up. Do you know what I mean? Like he probably started off very innocently, just looking into. I don't know how you.
Yeah,
get
I'm gonna say
to,
who was the basketball player, the NBA star who, like, became a real flat earther, and then he came out like a year later and went, "Guys, I rabbit holed and I was so wrong." He's like, "I just got caught."
Yeah.
He said, "Just one video looked really convinced me, and then suddenly all the videos I was getting suggested to me were."
I don't know. You got to be a special sort of person to end up down the flat earth rabbit hole.
But you've just said. You know some.
Yeah, but we know the Earth's round.
No, but some theories you get really convinced by. You've just said.
Yeah, but there's some.
I'm just saying.
There's a level of reason.
If there's one of us that was more likely to come out as a flat earther, it would be you.
On paper.
And what you'd say is you'd go, "I know I've said this before, but."
I'd start talking about ancient civilizations.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's aliens, but
it's aliens.
It's aliens.
I actually don't think the aliens have anything to do with anything. Maybe the UFOs, but
some
not like,
stuff.
Yeah, maybe some stuff.
They have anything to do with Glastonbury?
No.
What is happening at Glastonbury?
Nothing currently. I imagine it's vacant.
Oh, what the fuck did you bring it up for then?
Because I just
like
didn't
Wiltshire
know.
or something.
No, I wanted to talk about Lewis Capaldi.
Oh, okay. The really sweet
Scotsman
moment when he was on stage doing his set on Saturday.
I found it really difficult to watch
because his tics really took over,
and it was the look on his face of he wasn't like enjoying that. Like as nice as, like, don't get me wrong, this isn't a criticism of the crowd because what they did was perfect. It's what you should do in that situation. But he didn't enjoy that moment in any way. Do you know what I mean? He might have had a slight tinge of appreciation.
Yeah, enjoyed not the right word, and I think he appreciated it more afterwards.
Yeah,
but in the moment, you feel like you've let down the crowd.
Yeah, I think he just felt awful that he was in that, and you could see him keep trying.
His tics were completely getting the best of him.
Yeah, and I think he's made the right decision, stepping away from a bit and focusing on himself. I think it's absolutely the right thing to do. I don't think he should be embarrassed or ashamed or should in any way. I think he shouldn't have done that performance because he would have had every intention of giving a good one. Just sadly.
No, I love Lewis Capaldi. I mean, whether you like his songs, and I think they're all right.
I think he's a good artist.
But as a person, as a personality, I think he is absolute top
he's one
tier,
of the good eggs.
Top tier.
He's one of the good eggs.
For entertainment.
As far as I'm concerned, he's a swords crosser.
I mean, did you see him on BBC Breakfast when he essentially suggested that Naga Munchetty, she said something like quite innocent or whatever, and he's just sort of
Is she the one that had sex with Big Zoo?
She might have done, but he basically
short-haired lady.
Yeah, she made a comment, quite innocent, innocuous, but obviously a bit of a double entendre. And Lewis Capaldi basically just kind of, said like, bit of keyboard party action or something. And it took them all a minute. It was like, this is BBC Breakfast. People don't do that. People don't talk about that. They come on and they just talk about their products. They don't come on and suggest that we've been swinging.
No.
But I absolutely love him.
No, I think he's brilliant.
I was first introduced to him when he was releasing videos online where he Googled his net worth. Have you seen those?
No.
He's Googling his net worth and he's like,
I fucking wish.
He's like 20 million. He's like, fuck, am I still living in my mum and dad's house? He's like, where's my money?
I tell you what, I fell in love with him. There's some videos on YouTube of him performing with James Bay, and I was never into James Bay particularly before.
I quite like James Bay.
I just never heard his music. I just never. And there was a performance where it was a James Bay concert, and Lewis Capaldi came on, and he sang a James Bay song, and James Bay just played guitar and sort of backed a little bit, and then James Bay sung Lewis Capaldi song, and he just backed him a little
Yeah.
bit. It was just such a nice, and that's what turned me on to him a bit more. I
Yeah,
would
no,
say.
I'm a massive fan, and it was a really sweet. I'll tell you what though,
I mean, because that moment normally, like we've said it, like when we went to see Noel Gallagher, like when Wonderwall came on and he just stopped singing and the crowd just carries on.
Yeah, it's
That's the
great.
dream as an
It's
artist,
great.
but not how it happened for him. I would
Yeah.
say it's amazing.
You've got to be. It's a control
like
thing. You
that
want to.
crowd smashed it, phenomenal.
The crowd sing because you let them sing.
Yeah, you give them that moment. They helped him in that situation.
No, while we're on Glastonbury, and I didn't see any in the last day because I was travelling.
I didn't watch as much of it as I would have liked.
But first of all, the best crowd were Jacob Collier's crowd, the best sounding
Okay.
crowd, because he did this choral thing.
Okay.
So he got this section of the crowd singing this.
Yeah, yeah.
This
Sort of
section of the
played
crowd
with
singing
the
that. And
audience.
he's like, you sing this note, you sing that note, you sing this little melody, and it came together
and it worked.
beautifully. Absolutely.
Nice.
It's almost like he took what Freddie Mercury did. And Freddie Mercury does it simply, brilliantly. There's
Yeah.
no one better. But it's like he took that and went, what if we just take it to the next level? What if we challenge the audience a little bit more in what they can
Yeah.
do? Give them a little bit more of a complex task. And it worked wonderfully. But the person who won Glastonbury, for me, was Rick motherfucking Astley. Did you see that, man?
I didn't watch the performance, but I heard everyone. I would actually, when you said his name, I was, because in my head I was like, the best received one I saw online was probably Foo Fighters. I know I'm
The churn-ups or whatever they were calling
yeah,
themselves.
the churn-ups, but very close second, if not slightly ahead.
I mean,
would
Dave
have
Grohl was
been-
there everywhere performing with them. But
Yeah.
Rick Astley, okay, so Rick Astley, he got on stage at one point, he was playing drums,
Yeah,
just having fun. Just singing. He was singing, he was playing drums and singing AC/DC.
yeah,
He did his own set.
yeah.
And the most bizarre one that came out of nowhere was, are you aware of the band Blossoms?
No,
They do the song Charlemagne.
no,
They do a few different songs, as is a band. That's what they do.
yeah.
Him and Blossoms just did a set where they just covered the Smiths.
Okay,
And it was fucking brilliant. I was like, do you know what? I would actually watch. I was never a massive Smiths fan, but I would watch a gig where it was just Blossoms and Rick Astley
performing their
performing
songs.
Smiths covers. But I got to say, he was performing. He did about 5 sets through the weekend, and he just every single time I saw him, he looked like he was having fun.
Yeah,
Never looked like he was forced or it was work. It looked like sort of like
He
the
was
Dave
having a
Grohl
good
attitude.
time.
Someone went, "Do you want to play a thing?" And he went,
yeah,
"Yeah, all right."
yeah.
Brilliant, utterly brilliant.
With
He
Sir
was.
Paul McCartney watching on as well.
Yeah, he was into all of it.
Yeah,
So sort of stood off the side of the main stage for most of it, didn't he?
yeah. What did
Or
you think
Pyramid.
about the Foo Fighters having his daughter on as well?
Yeah, I sort of come to. I mean, I don't dislike it, but I don't like it. If that makes sense.
I get what you mean. Because I think what came across from me was, one, they didn't have her mic up loud enough for me. Like, for
No,
me.
she's quite a quiet singer.
Yeah. And then on top of that, I don't think she's like, Dave Grohl's a rare example of someone who doesn't have one of the most natural, like, he's not a great singer in any way
No.
whatsoever, but can work a crowd and like somehow can take 100,000 people and make it a good gig. And she just hasn't got that, and that's not
She
on her.
feels better
That's
suited
not
to
a charisma.
a more intimate venue.
Yeah.
But I will. I'm not a
But I
massive
get
fan of
why he
people
did
just
it.
bringing their
It
kids
was a
on.
song in remembrance. I think he only did it because his mum had passed away. It was a song.
Yeah,
of
and they
remembrance
recorded it
for his
together and
mum.
they did it together.
So I think that's
but,
what, I don't know if that's something he would do at every Glastonbury.
It's definitely it's definitely not the first time he's brought his daughter on stage though.
No, it's not. 100%, it's not.
And I'm not. Because I don't dislike it. I can't say I wouldn't be doing the same if I was in his position.
Yeah.
If I had a daughter who sung and being like, yeah, I'd probably have that, like, yeah, fuck it, attitude. You come out and sing with us, fine,
Yeah.
no big deal. But as an audience, as a fan and whatever, it's not my favourite thing. How do you feel about
I think
it?
doing one song, cool. You're all having a good time. You want
Would
to
you
get.
be happy for that to be a part of a tour, though, for example? Every
Yeah,
night they
I
bring her
think
out for one song.
If
Maybe-
anything, I
maybe
actually
two.
think that would be better because I think she'd improve doing it every night. Like, I think the performance would improve as the tour went on.
I feel like it's peak nepotism as well. I'm not,
Of
I don't know how I
course
feel
it
about
is,
that. And
bro,
I'm not,
but
I know,
like,
and
I
like I said,
just-
I'd probably be doing the same, but I don't know if I dig it entirely.
No, look,
And
it's
that's not a
something-
slight on her.
No, it's something as left-leaning working class people. It's just a natural, like, it's not something you
resistance
like.
to
We
it,
don't
yeah.
like it. But like at the same time, if I was Dave Grohl's kid, I would absolutely, like, if I had the balls to, get up on stage with him if I got the opportunity.
when am I playing? Doing the Homer Simpson thing when he's with the Rolling Stone. No, they're all the group when he's at guitar camp. He's like, how many solos should I do? 3? I'll do 3. Do you know what I mean? He would be pushing it.
But yeah, and also I just think it was one of their biggest performances since losing Taylor.
It probably the biggest other than the concert.
So yeah, so I think I don't think it is something they would do on a tour show. But even if they did, I think you can live with one song being with his daughter out. Do you know what I mean? As long as you still get the hits.
Yeah, it's probably fine. Yeah, it's not something I'm a massive fan of.
Not for me. What made it worse was the quality of the sound. That would I think that would be better on a tour show as well.
Like I said, I know the importance of the song. It's not my favourite song.
No,
which doesn't help.
Well, to be honest with you, I couldn't really understand it.
But I don't. It just drags a bit, that song for me, and I don't think it adds anything artistically.
No, I think
it being in the set, but
I think
whatever.
it was a purely self-indulgent.
So fair enough.
Yeah, I think it was a self-indulgent.
It's like when Brian May gets up and does his, 12-minute Brighton Rock or whatever, and it's like, right, mate, we're over it now.
Yeah, I think artists just take a moment for them sometimes, don't they?
As long as it's a moment. Do you know
but I think that's what it was.
You don't want
like
a third of the show dedicated to it, and you're like,
well, no, and they didn't do that, so
no,
I think you can get away with it.
No,
but I can understand why people have an issue with it as well.
Glad to have kind of disagreed a little bit.
Yeah.
Again, I refer you to our previous episode, which people can find in all good podcast places.
To that episode. It was actually a very natural conversation. It was like we started with the issue, and then we went, "This is what I think about this bit," and then I'd go, "Okay, but I think," and then you go, "Okay," and I think, and that was just how the conversation progressed, and it was nice.
But throwing back to that a little bit, once again, because we're not discussing food, we've been able to have a very amicable discussion about why we're at different standpoints on a view.
What's the best sausage from a chippy? Normal, battered. Savoy.
Just battered sausage.
I would have agreed when I was a younger man.
Are you turned to the Savoy now?
No, straight up sausage.
Just normal sausage?
I like
what
to
kind
have...
of heathen goes to the
Because I like to have two,
sausage?
and 2 battered sausages is too much. It's
when
too
I go
greasy.
When I go to the chippy, it is a big order, or big-ish. I'll get chips, battered sausage.
I don't remember the last time I had fish
and a
chips.
pie.
See, Rogue, I've never really... I used to have pies from the chippy when I was younger, but now I'm all about this. I've always loved a good sausage.
All about the sausage.
Leanne's
told me similar things.
I go one battered, one normal. Or
that I can live with.
On occasion, one battered and the Savoy, because I do
that I can live with.
But
I think you've got to have a battered sausage.
Battered, and always curry sauce with it now as well.
Yeah, I'll go for that. I like curry sauce. I mean, I tend to just have a bit of salt on them, but...
I hate vinegar.
No, I hate vinegar. I'm not a fan of vinegar.
I think it's disgusting.
Quite often the guys at work will go and get fish and chips from across the road, and some of them are really generous.
The smell of it when they come back.
Well, some of them are really generous, and they're like, "Do you want some?" I'm like, "No," because if there
ruined
wasn't vinegar on them, I'd be munching them down like a bad boy. I'd be munching them down.
I'd have taken them off of you.
Looking over my shoulder like Gollum, going, "The diet starts tomorrow." But because there's vinegar on them, it's like it makes it really easy to be good with the diet.
In the clip video. The diet starts tomorrow.
Makes it really easy to say no when they're covered in vinegar. I'm not a fan of it. I don't like salt and vinegar crisps either. Ash loves them.
Yeah, they're the one for Ash.
And it's one of them where when we've been in the pub and stuff, and he sits there eating them, I'm like, I'm just going to sit at that end of the table, I think, for a few minutes because that stinks.
No, I'm not that bad. I just,
not a fan. I'm not a fan of them.
No. But guys, as always, let us know what you think.
Yeah,
what do you agree with?
The food was the most passionate discussion of our day.
Maybe we should do that at the end of every episode.
We talked about the state of just a food opinion and go agree or disagree. Yeah. We should do an episode, by the way.
And that's the most we've ever agreed on food, by the way, I think.
Yeah, that probably is. Yeah. But we should do an episode where we just go agree, disagree, and we just each bring like 5 or 10 statements.
Yeah, about
and then
food.
See where we're at with it.
Yeah,
about food.
And just see how violent it gets.
It might end the pod. Absolutely aggressive.
It might end the pod.
There might be blood. There's a camera pic. Can we put blood
Isn't
on YouTube?
Isn't that the name of a film? There may be blood.
There will be blood.
There will be blood.
Yeah, Daniel Day-Lewis.
That'll be the name of the episode. There will be blood.
Yes. I'm game.
Yeah, why not?
See what
I've just got to sit and brain. What I've got to do is then observe what I do with food for a couple of weeks, just to see if there's anything like sauces on certain things. That will be a big discussion. That
will be a
subject.
big discussion because I'm not a massive sauce person, so that
will be interesting. I'm all about the sauce, so
a good sausage and a bit of sauce.
Absolutely,
it's the way you like,
and I couldn't end things any better than that. So, Jake, which one of us is telling the people where to tell us about their sausages?
Do you want to take it in turns?
All right.
I'll go, you go.
Oh, it's my turn, isn't it? Or do you mean one
No,
bit
like
each?
I'll go. Yeah, well, I'll do one. You do
start
one,
us off then.
and then we'll see where we're at.
Okay.
You can find us on Twitter at Swords Crossing,
On Facebook at Crossing Swords.
on Instagram and on TikTok at CrossingSwords_podcast.
And you can email us at crossingswords19@gmail.com.
And you can visit us on YouTube, like and subscribe.
The
All-
link will be in the description of every episode.
Every motherfucking episode.
And also,
You'll have no fucking excuses.
check out our shorts. We're doing shorts now. We're on the TikTok. We're on the gram. You know, we're popping.
We're on the gram.
We're on Fleek.
We're down with it. Is that another app we're not on?
We're on Fleek.
Oh, are you on Fleek? You've got an account?
Yeah.
Okay, good. You're on top
I
of
was
that.
born on
No,
Fleek.
you're on top of that. That's
Yeah.
fine, as long as you've got the app.
I've got the threads. I'm on Fleek.
Yeah, no, that I'm not on
I'm
top
hot
of any
right
of that.
now.
I'm so. Sometimes I feel so old with some stuff.
Yeah.
I got an email the other day, by the way.
I
This
don't
is
know
just
if you're doing a
completely
bit right
tangential. I'm
now,
not doing
I
a bit
hope.
right now. I got an email
On
the other.
Fleek is not an app, by
I
the
know,
way.
I got it. I got
Okay,
it.
cool.
I got an email the other day.
Oh, you double bluffing.
I know I said I was doing a bit.
Oh.
And now I'm not doing a
Right.
bit.
Okay.
Yeah, I got an email saying someone.
You sold it really well.
It's the acting. What can I say? If any directors out there
You
want
should
me in
be
the
Lex
role,
Luthor.
I think I should be Lex Luthor.
Although, again, a bit like a Prime Minister, as I said on Twitter, should there be a height requirement for Lex Luthor?
Nah, not if you play as well as I will.
Also, I think they have an issue.
That's a baller
since
move right there,
Kevin
by the way.
Smith, not Kevin
Kevin
Smith,
Spacey.
Kevin Spacey. They don't really want dodgy people playing
It's
Lex
best,
Luthor.
best to avoid.
Yeah.
You know, the confidence. You see that confidence there I sold it with?
You did, absolutely.
Confidence.
You actually made me. I was like, he's surely. I know he's doing a bit, and then by the end, I was like, oh no, he's not actually
I say
doing
there
a bit.
there won't be a height requirement when I play it as well as I do.
No.
People will be
Well,
clamouring.
just do what they do for Tom
I
Cruise.
will
Or put
play
you
it.
on a stall.
And this is a claim, and this is great because Warner Brothers will never actually hire me, and I'll never have to back the claim. But I'll make it. I will play it so well that within a year of me playing it, Lex Luthor will be revised to be a short man in the comics. That's how
Wow.
well I'll play it.
Do I get to be Superman?
Yeah, you can be Superman. I don't see why not.
No.
You've got the body.
I know.
You've got the
No,
charisma.
look. If they do what they did for Henry Cavill,
Yeah.
I'll be fine. Just put me on a diet, give me professional trainers, and we'll be good
It's
to go.
the easiest way to get ripped.
Yeah.
No, what's I saying? Someone sent me.
Barely have to do it.
I got an email from someone. So I met someone new, connected with them, talking a bit, and then they added me on Snapchat.
Okay.
Like I got
Do you
an
still
email.
have Snapchat?
No, I have not had Snapchat. Like this,
Do you even have the app?
I've had this phone for about 3 years now.
Okay.
This phone has never seen the app. I would have had Snapchat when I was like when
But
it
someone
first
added
came
you on
out.
Snapchat.
Someone had, I was like,
How did you even find out? Was it an email?
I don't know, mate. Yeah, I got an email saying like, "Oh, you've got a new Snapchat friend." I was like, and I recognised the name, and I was like, "Fuck, do I?" I was like, I didn't. I thought they'd like deactivated it or something. I mean, I've not been active on it for years.
Kylie Jenner killed it.
But also, I was kind of, well, you should wipe like $1 billion off of it, right, by
Yeah.
a tweet or
It
something.
never recovered from that, like,
it not?
genuinely. Well, it doesn't seem to have. I think it only gets used for nudes.
Oh, maybe I should get. No, I want to play Lex. I want to play
WhatsApp's
Lex.
end-to-end encrypted.
I'm going to get rid of all of my dodginess.
Just
I'm
keep-
putting it all behind
Just
me.
keep on fleek, yeah?
I'm going to play Lex. Yeah, no, that's and you can get that in the App Store, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, cool.
yeah. And in the store,
And what's this store?
you know, clothes shops.
Oh, you just get it. You can just walk in and get it.
Yeah,
That's cool.
yeah.
That's kind of, they're kind of down with the
You can
kids
go
now.
into a hairdresser's and you can be on fleek.
It's a 21st
In
century
a
world.
coffee shop, be on fleek.
Isn't that like the
The
worst thing?
butchers, the bakers, the candlestick makers, you can be on fleek.
When you go to some shops and they like hand you like an iPad or something, not as like a gift, not as like a, well, thanks for being a customer, here's an iPad.
Yeah.
But they're like, oh, all our business is
Imagine
done
being so rich
technologically
you
now.
had a new phone for every text message. No, done with that one.
Oh, that'd be the life.
Yeah.
No, it wouldn't, because
That'd be on fleek.
that would be. Would you think that would go viral on Fleek?
Always.
I grew up excellent.
I always go viral, bro.
I'm learning. Yeah, but your doctor spoke about that, and he said, wrap it up a bit
No.
more.
He told me to just keep being a king.
He talked to you about the dangers of virality.
Yeah. But look, bro.
Do you think you're saying the Dr. Jen you just said, keep being you, king.
Keep doing you.
Keep doing you, king.
Yeah.
and use the word king.
Yeah.
Man, you've got a great doctor. You've got a really well
He
paid
just
doctor.
injects me with some antibiotics, slaps me on the arse, and tells me to keep up.
Where
the
did your
good
doctor
work.
get their degree?
What's
What's your doctor's degree in?
medicine?
Modern art.
He's a doctor of anthropology.
Keep being you, king.
Yeah.
Keep doing you, dog.
Yeah. King's gonna king.
I think that's the next way to end the episode. Just keep doing you, king.
Keep doing you guys.